October 16th is World Food Day, and the theme this year is A World Without Hunger by 2030. The initiative aims to promote awareness and action for those who suffer from hunger and for the need to ensure food security and nutritious diets for all. Advances in technology and artificial intelligence can help feed the world, but there are challenges that keep first world technologies from reaching the developing world. VOA's Elizabeth Lee explains.
Hunger affects 1 in 9 people globally, and that number is rising. Poverty is not the only reason why.
Increasingly, we're also seeing hunger caused by the displacement related to conflict, natural disaster as well.
Humanitarian organizations are turning to new technologies such as AI or artificial intelligence to fight global food insecurity.
What AI offers us right now is an ability to augment human capacity. So we're not talking about replacing human beings and things, but we're talking about doing things, doing more things and doing them better than we could by just human capacity alone.
Artificial intelligence can analyze large amounts of data to assist farmers in developing countries and locate areas impacted by conflict and natural disasters. The data can then be accessed by farmers from their smartphones.
When you take geospatial data and soil mapping data and use AI to do the analytics, it can send me the information. So in a nutshell, it can help me when to plant, what to plant, how to plant.
When you start combining technologies, AI, robotics, sensors, that's when we see magic start to happen. On farms for production, to increase crop yields.
But the developing world is often the last to get new technologies.
815 million people are hungry, and I can bet you that nearly 814 million out of the 815 million do not have smartphones.
And even when the technology is available, other barriers still exist.
A lot of these people that we talked about that are hungry, they don't speak English. So when we get the insights out of this technology, how are we going to pass it on to them?
While it may take time for new technologies to reach the developing world, many hope such advances will ultimately trickle down to farmers in regions that face food insecurity.
You've invented the technology, the big investment's gone in. Now you're modifying it, which brings the cost down as well. So I think 3 to 4 years maybe, we'll even have some of the things we have here being used there as well.
Those working in humanitarian organizations say entrepreneurs must look outside their own countries to adapt the new technologies to combat global hunger. And farmers will need to be trained so they can harness the power of artificial intelligence to help feed the hungry in the developing world. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News.
Now, while there has been improvement in the fight against hunger, the Global Hunger Index found that advances are uneven. Its 2017 report showed that millions of people still experience chronic hunger, and many countries suffer acute food crises and even famine. Joining me now to discuss the issue is Asma Lateef, Director of Bread for the World Institute. Ms. Lateef, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
First of all, let me have your take on innovation in terms of fighting hunger. Where we stand now with regards to the global hunger crisis, how do you see innovation, or at least what type of innovation can help?
Well, we absolutely will need innovation and new technologies, new science to address hunger in the coming years. The impact of climate change in all parts of the world is really affecting agriculture in many ways, and we'll have to be innovative in the ways that we deal with those changes.
So when we look at this issue of hunger, what is the main problem as of now? You mentioned climate change, but we also know that food, there's no shortage of food in some areas of the world. It's more access. So what is the main issue now?
Well, there are many things that are happening. For decades, we were seeing quite significant progress on hunger issues, but the UN agencies recently released their report in September that suggested for the third year in a row that we're seeing an increase in hunger worldwide. And their analysis really points to three issues. One is conflict. Conflict we are seeing a significant increase in conflict in many parts of the world, and that's having a huge impact on hunger, especially crisis hunger, so severe acute malnutrition. And then we are already beginning to experience the impact of climate change. There are extreme variability in weather around the world. Droughts, floods, and farmers are really struggling to plan. They are unable to know from going into the season whether the season will be like the previous season, and so that is a huge challenge. That is that makes it more difficult to. In terms of both the availability of food in regions or local areas. Okay. Yes, there is enough food in the world, but whether it's where it needs to be is really the issue.
That's the big question. Now, a world without hunger by 2030. Yes. How realistic is this?
Well, as you know, the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted in 2015, and Goal 2 of the SDGs is ending hunger by 2030. And
how do we get there?
It is going to be a significant challenge. Ever since 2015, we've seen this uptick in the hunger numbers, suggesting that we need to get a lot more serious about resolving conflict. We're seeing conflict in parts of the world that are really leading to increases in hunger where we hadn't seen it before, Venezuela, Syria, and there are the ongoing conflicts. So as an international community, we need to become much more serious about conflict resolution. The other issue is climate change. We know that climate change is affecting us.
It's a problem right now, definitely. Thank you so much. We have to leave it there. Asma Lateef, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.